Every 34 seconds, someone in the United States has a heart attack. That means in the next hour, while you're watching this show, more than 100 people will have one. Do you know the warning signs? We'll share the symptoms and risk factors for heart disease, the leading cause of death for both men and women. It causes 1 in every 4 deaths. About half of us have at least one risk factor for heart disease, such as high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or smoking. Join us as we discover what makes heart disease different in men and women and learn about the latest treatments available, and we'll share the numbers you need to know. A special look at America's #1 killer starts right now on Tempo in Depth.
The people of Air Products feel privileged to bring this programming to you. By supporting education and the arts, Air Products strives to improve the quality of life here in the Lehigh Valley, where we call home.
You're safe at home at Luther Crest, a Diacon senior living community in Allentown. Our mission is to offer premier accommodations and services so residents can cultivate a healthy and fulfilling retirement. At Luther Crest, we offer independent living apartments and cottages, personal care, skilled nursing, rehabilitative services, and more. Plus, the Luther Crest team strives to provide each person family-like support. You might say it's like a home run. Luther Crest.
Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Amy Burkett. You know what? We've got an amazing studio audience today. Students from Liberty High School and students from Southern Lehigh, and we're glad to have them with us in the audience. But we've got a lot of important issues to talk about. In the United States, heart disease kills more than 600,000 people each and every year. It boils down to 1 person every minute, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Now, the American Heart Association reports that heart disease causes 1 in 3 women's deaths. Yet, only 1 in 5 women consider it her greatest health threat. Estimates state 43 million women are affected by heart disease in America. Tempo in Depth's Laura McHugh introduces us to one of them.
Ready, Savannah.
When it comes to 7-month-old Savannah, Andrea Masaryk never takes a moment, even a single smile, for granted.
And every time I look at her and I look at my daughter, I think, thank God I am here, or I would have missed all that.
In May 2012, as Andrea got ready for her first grandchild's arrival, her months of anticipation suddenly turned to fear.
You hear heart attack, you think death. I just felt lethargic, what I would describe as heartburn symptoms, just like a dull ache in my chest, and I felt some tingling around my shoulders. Had that all day.
Around 1:30 in the morning, Andrea woke up and called an ambulance.
And it was bad. It was very painful and very uncomfortable, and led to shortness of breath where I couldn't really breathe. It was really scary.
Hours later, Andrea woke up in St. Luke's Hospital in Bethlehem. Doctors put a stent into her heart to open a blocked artery.
We're just looking at her angiogram showing this narrowing in the middle of her right coronary artery.
According to Andrea's cardiologist, Dr. Lynn Moran, Andrea is among millions of American women affected by heart disease.
It's actually the #1 cause of death in women, more so than even breast, lung cancer combined, COPD, all of those things combined. And it does kill more women every year than men.
In addition to chest pain, Dr. Moran explains women often feel different symptoms than men.
You know, women can present with shortness of breath or just jaw pain, arm pain, back pain, nausea, any of those things that, persist and don't go away certainly should be a red flag to a woman and have them get to an emergency department sooner than later for evaluation.
Andrea had those heartburn-like symptoms for weeks. At the time, she thought they were muscle spasms related to a neck surgery.
You just don't think a heart attack. You just don't think. And I say if it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody, because I took really good care of myself. A lot of changes I had to make in my life, how I handle my stress.
Andrea has a family history of heart disease, and though she can't control that risk factor, she has reduced her stress and her blood pressure.
110/70.
The first steps to make sure she's around to watch baby Savannah take hers. For Tempo in Depth, I'm Laura McHugh reporting.
Okay, now if you don't go awe after seeing baby Savannah, I don't know what makes you go awe. Thanks so much, Laura. Well, to continue our conversation about women and heart disease, cardiologist Dr. Deborah Sunloff of Lehigh Valley Health Network joins me now. Dr. Sunloff, thanks so much for being with us. It's been too long.
Thank you, Amy. You're right. It has been too long.
It's February. It's Heart Health Month. I'm sorry I didn't wear my red today. But talk to us a little bit, because so many people get confused between the symptoms of a heart attack in women and men. You don't think, we saw in that story, jaw pain?
Right.
You wouldn't think that that's something that you have to worry about a heart attack about. Talk to us a little bit more about that.
I think it's so important that you're doing this, Amy, so thank you so much for having me. But that video was so telling, right? You look at a woman like that and you think, she can't have a heart attack. How can she be at risk? But in actuality, more women die from heart disease than anything else. So it is something that's important. The signs and symptoms for women can be very different than men. Now, don't get me wrong, Amy. Women can still have the same signs that men do, that is chest pain.
Or that tightness
or
in
that
your
tightness
chest.
feeling. But women are more likely than men are to have more atypical symptoms. When we look at the symptoms that women have most commonly leading up to the heart attack, one main symptom they seem to have is something called fatigue, where they're very, very tired. Now, our patient just there said lethargic. Lethargic is a way of saying that I was so tired I couldn't move. You don't feel like you can move your body. So extreme fatigue is a symptom that women can have.
And can that happen days, maybe weeks or months before you would have an official heart attack?
It can. It can happen weeks before, up to a month before, leading up to a heart attack. And I know we all have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. We talked about that. We're all tired. But it's more extreme than that. It's a lethargy. It's a fatigue. Your body is so heavy you don't want to move it. So that's important to notice that something's wrong. A lot of my women have said, I knew something was wrong, something was different. It was beyond just being tired. And I found that I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I was more short of breath. I was having a discomfort. That's one thing that I get told often. When a patient comes to the emergency room, comes and talks to me, people get labeled with chest pain. And I get corrected all the time. Doc, it wasn't a pain, it was a discomfort. Like she said, she had a discomfort up here. So I always tell people, if any type of discomfort between their nose and their belly button, think about it. Could it be your heart? Do you have risk factors? Do I need to talk to my doctor about that?
I think so many people, and perhaps especially women, because we're so used to taking care of everyone in the family, our husbands, our own jobs, we sometimes say, I don't have time. I'm not sick. I'll just push through. How do we, and no one wants to be embarrassed to go to the emergency room when truly you might just be a little fatigued that day.
Right.
How do we make that decision?
That is a very good question, because women, more commonly than men, are delayed in getting to the emergency room when they actually are having a heart attack. Women tend to get there to the emergency room 6 to 9 hours later than men do, because they don't want to be embarrassed. They don't think it's their heart. If I can give one piece of advice, listen to your body. If you think something's wrong, take it seriously. And one thing you should always do is call 911. Don't drive yourself to the emergency room. Always call 911, because the team that responds, the squad that responds, can actually initiate care when they get to you. And they can also send EKGs to the emergency room so your doctor can meet you there. And so the team's ready to go and can get the care that you need. And one other thing I have to say is, physicians as well are inclined to the power of suggestion. So if you come to the emergency room and you say, I have this weird feeling, but it's nothing. I'm under a lot of stress. Don't do that. Just tell the doctor your symptoms and let the doctors work it out.
Okay, you brought up the big S word, stress. These days it seems like stress is everywhere. What role does stress play on possible heart attacks?
Stress plays a big role. When we are under a lot of stress, we tend to not live healthy lifestyles. We tend to make worse choices. We may pick up a quick meal at McDonald's instead of taking the time to make a healthy meal at home. We tend not to exercise because we, quote, don't have the time. None of us have the time to exercise. We have to make the time.
It's 5:20 in the morning, Deborah. I'm on a kick.
I know.
I'm doing better.
Yep.
And at least it's done, and I feel better during the day to have that exercise in. Sometimes at 5:20 I don't feel so good, but when I get to the office I do have more energy than on the days that I don't exercise.
Patients tell me that all the time. Once they start exercising, they feel better, they have more energy, they actually feel less stressed. We do have a syndrome, actually, that's interesting called Takotsubo syndrome, which is a stress-induced cardiomyopathy. It's actually called also the broken heart syndrome, where when women, predominantly women, have had this, when they are under extreme stress, it can actually lead to a syndrome where it looks like the patient's having a heart attack. The heart muscle becomes weak. They can have heart failure. They can even have death. They can also die. But if they get the proper care, then they can recover significantly with the right medications and treatment.
Okay, Dr. Sunlove, this is something new that I just heard last week on the news, that snoring may be a sign of heart disease. I'd never heard that one before, and it seems like every day there's a new medical something that sometimes they disprove over the years, but you've heard this too. This may have some credibility?
I did read about that, Amy, and it's interesting because they did a study that looked at people who snored compared to people who didn't snore, and they followed them over years. And what they found was that these people that snored were twice as likely to have something called metabolic syndrome. And metabolic syndrome is a constellation of diagnoses that includes high blood pressure, high blood sugar, high cholesterol, low good cholesterol, and increased body fat in the belly area. And when you have that metabolic syndrome, you're at incredibly high risk to develop cardiovascular disease. So there is a link between snoring, and it's probably because patients that do snore are more likely to be overweight and more likely to have those diagnoses like high blood pressure and diabetes. So there is a link.
You know, it's always something new. Dr. Sunlove, before we run out of time, what's the final word, the take-home message that you want everyone to get?
You know, the take-home message that I would like to give is that you really need to listen to your body and you should talk to your doctor. Identify your risk factors. There are some risk factors that you can identify yourself. Like you would know if you have, if you're overweight, if you're not exercising the correct amount, if you smoke. Your doctor can help you identify some other risk factors, such as weed out family history, talk about your menopause, and your age and what role that plays. And also they can help you diagnose risk factors such as high blood pressure and diabetes and high cholesterol.
Great information. Dr. Deborah Sunlove from Lehigh Valley Health Network, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Well, you know what? We can learn so much. And if you want to learn a little bit more, check out the latest Prevention magazine. You know, they've provided copies of the latest issue for members of our studio audience. And we want to point out that you should check out the article to get a healthier heart in 30 days. It's a great opportunity. Okay, welcome to the kitchen set now. We're going to do a little cooking, something I don't do a lot. Stacey Redfield joins us. She is our health and fitness expert.
I am.
We're grateful that you're here, Stacey, and we've been having fun already. Today we're going to talk chicken breasts with avocado relish.
Avocado relish.
Why is this heart healthy and good for us?
Well, there's a lot of misconceptions, first of all, about frying anything in oil. I mean, we definitely are not going to give that up. So I try to make things a little bit more user-friendly for the housewife out there who wants a nice, simple, healthy meal, something that's quick, and something that is just a little bit, I want to say just a little bit healthy, but it's actually a lot more healthy than that. The avocado relish is something that's simple to make. It's full of nutrients. It's great for your heart. It has great fats in it. And again, that's something that we tend to shy away from. But fat is fuel for the body.
There's good fat and bad fat.
Exactly.
Bad fat, chocolate candy bar. Good fat, avocado.
Yes, and I sneak a chocolate candy bar every so often myself, so they're not necessarily bad for you. But if you eat a lot of them, they're bad for you. Anything in large quantities is not going to be good for you. So we look at quality of your food, quantity of your food. So everything in moderation, and it's all good.
Okay, let's get started. What do we need to do?
Well, first we're going to make the avocado relish, because this actually is wonderful once it has a little bit of time to set. What I took here was 3 avocados, and I peeled them, and you chop them up very coarse. So you're not trying to make like a guacamole with
I'm
it.
just kind of looking at the camera there. It's all chunked up that way. That's
And
nice.
to the avocados, we're going to add shallots, and this is a half a cup of shallots. And shallots, you could use red onions. There's a lot more nutritional value in a shallot.
I was just getting ready to say that was my tip that I researched, and I found out that shallots are so much better for you than
so
onions.
much better for you than onions. They contain folic acid, lutein, which is good for your eyes. Very good for the
Can I stir?
cardiovascular
'Cause
system.
that's something easy that I can do.
Please, please, please. And while you're stirring, I'm going to add in 4 tablespoons of lime juice. Again, great antioxidants
Flavor.
in here because of the vitamin content. So your antioxidants are basically your vitamins that you're adding into the dish. And the more nutritionally dense that you can make something, the better it is for you overall. So I try to keep things in small quantities, but bang, packed full of nutrition. So as
Do I
you're
want to
stirring
smash
that-
this up or just
No,
kind of?
you don't have to hurt it. You just have to stir it.
Okay.
So,
I don't want to hurt it.
You
I
don't
don't
want to
wanna
hurt it. You just have to stir it. And it's nice if you just kind of, toss it a little bit. We're going to add in a tablespoon of honey because there's a little bit of sweetness in there. Excuse my finger. It's
Good. Did I leave
clean.
you a paper towel?
No, I have an apron. I'm okay.
Good.
I'm good. I can just wipe it on my apron. That's what it's there for. So we've added in a tablespoon of honey, and that just adds a little bit of sweetness to it. And you're just going to stir that around in there till it's good. It looks pretty good.
Okay, not bad.
That does look good.
Stirring 101,
We're
I can
stirring.
do it.
Now we're going to add to that 2 tablespoons of cilantro.
And hey, I read that too. Cilantro is really fabulous for us as well.
It's good for your digestion. It's actually really good for your digestion. It's very similar to celery. It's almost in that same family. So when you add a little bit of cilantro to the dish, I know some people have a little bit of a problem with cilantro. It's actually very good for you. So again, lots of great antioxidants in there, great for the cardiovascular system. It's good for your digestion. It helps to maintain weight, keep all those fluids running out there.
Okay, well that's what I need.
Now we're going to add a little bit of salt to that. So I use sea salt because it actually takes inflammation out of the body. Be very careful about your salt. A lot of people use iodized salt or table salt. It creates inflammation in the body, so there is a big difference, yes.
Got to get the sea salt.
You
See,
have to
I
get the
learned so
sea
much
salts.
already.
You have to get the sea salts. We also do a little bit of pepper in here, fresh ground. I had to bring my own pepper mill with me because I'm a little impartial to that. And a little drizzle of olive oil. Again, another one of those really good fats. I do not cook a lot with olive oil in terms of heating it because it's a little heavy to heat and it's a little bit more toxic. Some of those, you have to remember, oil is fuel. It's like gasoline in your car. So you want to make sure that you're using lighter oils to cook with, and when you're making your salad dressings and things, you can use something that has a little bit more robust flavor to it, a little more zest to it, like a good olive oil.
Okay.
Okay, so that looks pretty good. And then the next thing we're going to do is make our chicken breasts. And the chicken breasts, I have dredged in flour, okay, and that creates a little bit of a barrier so that the breading can hold to it. And then it's dipped in egg, and it's 2 eggs, and I think I add like about a half a cup of milk. There's a recipe that's going to be available so that you can make this at home. And
On
then
our
I
website at
use-
WLVT.org.
Ooh, nice.
Get that in. Slide it right in.
I like how you did that.
Okay.
And then we use panko breadcrumbs. And a panko breadcrumb, these are really easy to make. You can buy them in the store, but a panko breadcrumb is simply a breadcrumb that has been dried in the oven. So you can take a loaf of bread, put it in your blender, put it on a baking sheet, in your oven about 300 degrees for 4 minutes. You got panko breadcrumbs.
I like it. I like it. We got 1 minute to go, so we've
well,
got
we're going
to.
to fry this. So we're going to toss this in oil, and it's going to fry. And you're going to fry it a little bit on either side, about 2 minutes on either side. And we're going to let that fry for a minute. We actually have one finished. So,
See, it's the
'cause
magic
that's
of
that
television.
magic of television.
I like it.
So we're going to bring one of those out.
Ooh, it looks beautiful.
Don't they look
Nicely
good?
browned.
Well,
Fabulous.
and this is the magic of coconut oil. Look at this nice golden brown that you get on here. It's a nice light color. So you don't have to worry about getting that dark brown flavor, that dark brown crust on it. This is just a nice light color. And the coconut oil, again, is something that's really good for you.
And it's okay that we fried it because we're so taboo to frying. You had a funny little tip that you shared with me. How long does it take to dispel a medical myth or what may be a fact to some people?
75 years. So
75 years? Yeah, because I'm
yes, the
just
myths will
programmed.
outlive us. So
Okay, what do I do
we're
with
going to
it?
throw a little bit of avocado relish on here. And this is still hot out of the oven, so go ahead and give it a taste.
My favorite part, Stacy.
When you pop these in the oven, you fry them for a few minutes on either side and then finish them in the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes, and you have a perfect chicken breast.
And the flavor in that avocado relish is amazing.
I know. I made it.
Okay. I don't know why I'm surprised, because it seemed easy. I think that's why I'm surprised. I'm
don't
not
you
a good...
like the shallot in there?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
It's just a nice mellow flavor, and it's something. Keep it in your kitchen all the time. I mean, shallots and
They're your best friend?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
how you stay so skinny?
that's how I stay so skinny. Yeah, no, that's my secret.
I'm signing up for shallots, baby. Stacey Redfield, health and fitness expert. Thank you so much for sharing these great heart-healthy tips with us. We're so grateful.
It was my pleasure.
I'm going to make this.
I hope so. In fact, you can have that one. You can take that one home for you. You have dinner tonight.
Fabulous. Thanks so much, Stacey.
You're welcome.
Just a reminder, you can find Stacey's recipe from our show's website. Go to tempo.wlvt.org when it comes to assessing your own risk for heart disease. Now, there are certain numbers everyone needs to know. For more, we turn to our next guest, Diana Skowronski, from the Lehigh Valley Division of the American Heart Association. Diana, at the Heart Association, you call them Life's Simple 7.
That is correct.
If it's simple, I like it. So help me understand.
Sounds really easy, right?
It does.
So the American Heart Association has identified 7 controllable factors in regards to heart disease that we can all work on to live a healthier lifestyle. So I'll start with the first, most straightforward one is smoking. If you do not currently smoke, don't start. And if you do currently smoke, quitting can have a huge impact on your heart health.
Now, this sounds nerdy, but when I was a little girl, my mom always said, if you don't take the first puff, you'll never have to take the last. And I'm proud to say, I've never smoked, and it's one bad habit I didn't have to worry about kicking.
Right? Yeah, it's, I'm sure I've never smoked either, and I know people who do smoke, and I know people who have quit, and I know it's not easy. But there are a lot of really great resources out there. The American Heart Association's website can direct you to some really great resources. But through your local hospital, there's a lot of hotlines, and the internet has a lot of resources that you can look to help quit. But something that people should know is when you do quit smoking, the day you quit smoking, your risk for heart disease starts to decrease. Over time, it'll actually go back to someone who's never smoked at all.
So today is the day. Don't put it off till tomorrow.
Right.
So after the not smoking part, what's the other number we need to know?
The next number you need to know is your ideal weight. So that's a number that's pretty easy to find if you use a BMI chart, a body mass index chart, very easily accessible on the internet.
But it gets confusing.
It does
All
get confusing.
Those numbers, you can remember your weight, but BMI, I admit, it's hard.
It is, and it's much easier to find on the chart. There's a whole kind of formula to find it. I would recommend just looking up the chart and looking what it should be, but it goes by your age and your height. And once you find that number, that's a target number that you want to look at and build a plan to get there.
Okay, so we know our weight, we don't smoke. Next up, that's only 2.
Next up would be physical activity, the amount of physical activity that you're doing. The American Heart Association recommends 30 minutes a day, minimum 5 days a week. So that's 150 minutes a week. And people always think, where am I going to get 30 minutes in my day? I think that's people's initial reaction. But the good thing is that research shows it doesn't actually have to be 30 consecutive minutes. It can be 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at lunch, and 10 minutes in the evening. So that sometimes seems a little bit more manageable to people. And you can certainly start with 10 minutes and build up to 30. And there's also other ways that you can kind of incorporate that into your life to boost your amount of physical activity, like taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or if walking to work is an option, or parking further away from work and walking in the morning, walking back at night to add up to that 30 minutes.
Okay, we've got 3. We need number 4.
Number 4 would be your healthy diet, looking at the number of fruits and vegetables you're eating, incorporating more of those into your life, eating more poultry, fish twice a week is recommended.
Why is fish so good for you? I mean, people go nuts and fish, and I notice if I eat fish in a day, I often lose a pound the next day when I get on the scale in the morning.
Great.
It's magical.
It is.
But I
it's
still
magical
don't
fish.
eat enough fish.
Yeah, Personally, that is something that I need to work on as well, because the American Heart Association does recommend it twice a week, and that's something that I don't do, and I know a lot of people don't do, and it's because it has an omega-3 acid in it that's actually very good for your heart. So
it's my tilapia. I love my tilapia.
Yeah, it's good for you.
Okay, next up.
Okay, so the next 3 that are left are actually numbers that you would get from your doctor. So the first one is blood pressure. And blood pressure we get done all the time. If you're seeking any kind of health care, you're probably getting your blood pressure taken. I most recently had it taken at the dentist. And that's, the cuff on your arm, they'll tell you what your number is. The numbers that you should know there is 120/80 is ideal or lower. Anything higher than that would, be considered high blood pressure, and you want to make sure to keep that lower. And doing things like physical activity and eating healthy, like I just mentioned, will actually have an impact on that number. So when they take your blood pressure at the doctor, ask what the number is if they don't tell you, and ask where you stand in relation to where it should be.
Next up,
cholesterol. Cholesterol will require a blood test, so you do have to get a little bit of blood work done, very easy test. And when you get your number back, your total cholesterol number should be under 200. And you're going to see that there's two cholesterol numbers. One is HDL and one is LDL.
Good cholesterol, bad cholesterol.
Good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. The way that I remember that, happy cholesterol, HDL, lousy cholesterol is LDL. So
I have never heard that before, Diana.
Well,
that's amazing.
That's how I try to remember it, because I
always get them confused.
It can be very easily confused, and so it's a good way for me to remember it. I'm not a health professional, so it's
Great
easy
tip.
for me to keep it in my mind that way. So good cholesterol, you want that to be the higher number.
So the happy cholesterol needs to be a bigger number than the lousy cholesterol.
That's correct, and total under 200.
I like it. Finally, we're talking blood sugar a little bit?
Yeah, so the last one is blood sugar, and that's really important because anything higher, you want to keep that number under 100. Higher than 100 looks at prediabetes, and then even higher than that would be diabetes. And so you want to try to keep that number low and not intake extra sugars, sugary beverages, sweets, those kind of things, kind of keep those to a minimum.
So it sounds like, the simple 7. It sounds easy, and once you break it down, it's not that hard. What's really that take-home message from the American Heart Association?
I think the take-home message is to look at those 7 and really make it your lifestyle. It's not a crash diet. It's not done in a week. It's a change. So maybe not diving in all at once, but kind of taking it in these 7 pieces and building it into your lifestyle so you're living an overall healthy life and incorporating your family, your friends to support you in it so that you can kind of do it together. So.
And the key is to learn the numbers, because what happens so many times is people in their 20s and 30s think, oh, I'm healthy, and you pay no attention to it. So you don't have a benchmark for when you're 50s and 60s for just how bad things may have progressed, where if you're watching it, it's easier to make subtle changes than major changes when, too much has sailed past you.
Absolutely. And it actually is recommended to start at age 20 to start getting those screenings. So you have, like you said, kind of a benchmark to start at.
Great information. Diana Skowronski, we appreciate your information so much from the American Heart Association. Simple 7. You made it much simpler for me. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Well, thousands of people who need a heart valve replacement but are too at risk for open heart surgery now have an alternative. It's called TAVR, transcatheter aortic valve replacement. Now, this procedure doesn't require open heart surgery. It takes about an hour and a half to perform, as opposed to 6 to 8 hours for open heart surgery. So far, doctors across the U.S. have performed only about 3,100 TAVR procedures, 22 of them at Lehigh Valley Hospital, the first hospital in the region to offer it. Here's more on this life-saving procedure from Tempo in Depth's Grover Silcox.
Up until recently, if you needed a new aortic heart valve, your only option was open heart surgery.
That means going through typically the chest, the sternal bone, placing the patient on the heart-lung machine, stopping their heart, opening their heart, and replacing the valve.
The surgery works extremely well for 99% of the 50,000 Americans who get it each year, but it's deemed too risky for thousands of others considered inoperable because of other medical issues. Now there's a new procedure for these patients called transcatheter aortic valve replacement, or TAVR.
In this new procedure, we not only don't open the chest, meaning we don't perform a sternal splitting operation, but we actually don't use the heart-lung machine either. In other words, we don't stop the heart.
The procedure serves as a lifesaver for high-risk patients like 76-year-old Dale Rice of Allentown. Dale suffered from severe aortic stenosis, a life-threatening condition in which the aortic valve calcifies, narrows, and obstructs blood flow to the rest of the body. The valve needed replacing.
The doctors told me I probably would only live 2 more years if I wouldn't have had it done.
Dale, who had quadruple bypass surgery at Lehigh Valley Hospital in 2001, returned there last December for his valve replacement. Dr. Ray Singer, chief of cardiothoracic surgery, suggested the TAVR procedure because sensitive grafts from Dale's earlier surgery were too close to the breastbone for the open heart operation. So Dale chose the less invasive TAVR method.
The procedure is done with wires, catheters, balloons, and stents similar to stents that are done on coronary arteries.
The team threads catheters, or thin flexible tubes, through a small incision in the groin artery, or just under the breast to the heart.
In the case of the aortic valve, we actually leave the patient's aortic valve in place, and using these guide catheters, we place a new valve inside the old valve without having to do open heart surgery.
Unlike conventional open heart surgery, this procedure calls for a hybrid team of heart surgeons, cardiologists, cardiac catheterization nurses, and cardiac anesthesiologists working together in a specially designed hybrid operating room.
So it has all of the advanced radiographic technology that the cardiologist would use in the cardiac catheterization lab, and has the size and the sterility and the safety of an operating room.
Patients report immediate benefits from the replacement valve and the improved blood flow.
They'll tell you that for the first time in years they can take a deep breath, they're able to walk the halls in the hospital, and they feel as if they're able to do that without becoming short of breath.
For Dale, it means getting around like he used to, and even keeping up with his 5-year-old grandson, Noah.
He calls me Pop-Up. And I'd like to see him graduate from college.
That's what keeps Dale going. That and his new heart valve. For Tempo in Depth, I'm Grover Silcox reporting.
Thanks so much, Grover. Well, joining me now to further explain this and other new treatment options, Dr. Ronald Freudenberg, the Chief of the Division of Cardiology at Lehigh Valley Health Network. Dr. Freudenberg, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
What an amazing procedure that you can do that traditional heart bypass surgery requires you to stop the heart. It was the most amazing procedure. I used to be a national medical reporter, and I got to stand alongside of a doctor in heart bypass surgery. The heart's beating, and then it stops, and you watch the blood circulate through the heart-lung machine to keep them alive. They do the procedure, and the next thing you know, they start that heart back up. It's amazing, but that's a risky thing.
Absolutely.
This procedure, you don't have to stop the heart. There's no heart-lung machine involved. And what kind of advancement is that to be able to do this?
This is a game changer in heart surgery and heart disease in and of itself. No longer having to open the chest, which has an enormous amount of risk to it, particularly in older people who typically have valvular heart disease. They're at risk of stroke and all kinds of complications from opening. We can now go in through the leg and insert a small stent into the valve, blow it up on a balloon, and put a new valve all going through the leg. And also an alternative way, if we can't get it through the leg, is now through a small incision going right through the apex of the heart. So it's completely revolutionary and really should change the entire face of how we treat patients with valvular heart disease.
Now, we had heard a lot about stents in the past, stents that held open arteries. They were a little bit smaller than that, I would suspect.
Absolutely. The types of stents that go in arteries are about 1/8 of the size, and but it's the same concept. You put the stent in to push aside the blockage, and here we put the stent in and a valve in it. This is an example of a diseased valve with all this calcium on it, and this is what a normal valve would look like, which has no calcium. But we can push all this calcium aside and all this diseased, poorly functioning valve with this stent that goes onto a balloon, and also put in a brand new valve completely by using this this valve in stent type of procedure.
It's amazing. You have some other things to share with us. You brought lots of props today, so talk to us about how it works. But I love the crazy small one first. Can we go there?
Absolutely. So we talked a lot about prevention. We talked about the symptoms of heart disease, particularly in women. What happens when a patient doesn't recognize their heart attack, presents late to the hospital, or doesn't come to the hospital at all? Often they end up with congestive heart failure, which is an extremely common problem. It's the #1 killer of adults, #1 reason for adults' hospitalization in the United States. And what I specialize in is treatment of advanced congestive heart failure. We have some revolutionary items that are being developed. This is a device. I don't know if you can see that.
It's so tiny. It almost looks like a butterfly wing, about that size, little wires and a little transmitter in the middle?
Absolutely. This is experimental. We were involved at Lehigh Valley Health Network in creating this and learning how to use it. It is not FDA approved, but this is something that we put in with a catheter into the patient's lung, into the blood vessel in their lung, and the patient goes home and has a device. We call it an interrogator. It's basically a wand they put over their chest, and it can transmit to us, to the treatment team, the pressures inside of the heart, so we know exactly how to manage their heart failure symptoms, how much fluid to take off, how much medication to give them on that particular day. Fascinating, revolutionary device, not yet available on the market, not FDA approved, but fortunately we've been able to help develop this.
Smaller than a quarter. I mean, it's a couple little wires with that, and it gives you so much information about how the heart is working?
Absolutely. All wireless technology, all over the internet. I get an email if the patient's numbers exceed what I set them at. I get an email notification every day, and I can call the patient, adjust their medications from home, hopefully make them feel better and keep them out of the hospital.
It's incredible. You've got one more thing to show us.
Yes, one more prop. Also fairly revolutionary. This is a ventricular assist device. This is part of our program to treat patients with end-stage heart failure who otherwise may have required a heart transplant and either do not qualify because of other problems such as lung disease or liver disease or other problems that they can't get a heart transplant. We can implant this surgically into the heart where blood will go into this pump. There's a rotor in here that helps increase the cardiac output, how much your heart pumps to the rest of your body. And the patients go home with this device and their battery pack, and it assists a failing heart and helps pump blood to the body where your heart can't do it anymore.
And do you have to crack open the chest bone
Yes.
to get this in, right?
This is a big operation with a fair amount of risk, so it's very important that you have a team that has experience and special training in determining who the best candidates for who would benefit most from this. It's a big operation, a big responsibility for the patient and their families to take care of this, but also
the difference between life and death.
Absolutely. So in the right patient with the right support, we can definitely extend life and, more importantly, for many people, quality of life.
Dr. Freudenberger, help us understand. It seems to me, and I'm not in the medical field, but just from covering these types of stories, that the last few years, the advancements have been exponential compared to perhaps the last 10 or 15 years. I mean, do you sense that you've been in it for so long?
It's very exciting. There's been so much advancement. Every year there are new advancements, entirely new ways of treating heart disease, and the future is very, very bright. One of the statistics that we often don't mention is the improvement in survival in patients who have heart disease that we've accomplished in this country over the last 10 years has been significant. Unfortunately, we tend to focus on some problems that we have, such as maternal fetal death rate, but we've improved survival significantly in this country for patients that have heart disease because of these innovations that have been developed.
Dr. Freudenberger, for the patient and their family who are dealing with some sort of real immediate issue, how do we know how to help our loved ones make the best choices? There's so many options there. Obviously, we trust the doctor, but we want to be informed as well and ask the right questions to assist.
Absolutely. I think it is important, having had a sick parent. It's very difficult to navigate the system sometimes. I think it's important to go to programs that are specialized in your particular disease, and we are fortunate to have programs very specific for patients with advanced heart failure. We have a program for that. For patients with advanced valvular heart disease, we have a program specifically for that. These are multidisciplinary teams of doctors, cardiologists, cardiac surgeons, nurses, dietitians, physical therapists. The whole team gets together in one room and discusses the more difficult to treat patients to come up with the best plan for those people. So my advice is to seek out the best multidisciplinary team that you can find.
Dr. Freudenberger from Lehigh Valley Health Network, thank you so much for your time and for bringing those great advancements.
Thank you.
Really helps. Well, unlike a heart attack, sudden cardiac arrest occurs when the heart suddenly and unexpectedly stops beating. If untreated, cardiac arrest usually causes death within minutes. Many of those who suffer sudden cardiac arrest can be saved by prompt action with an automated external defibrillator, or an AED, and CPR. But education offers the best way to prevent cardiac arrest and save lives. Tempo in Depth's Grover Silcox takes us to Nazareth Area High School to see how the athletic department there has taken this issue to heart.
The Blue Eagles of Nazareth Area High School play hard, go the limit, and thirst for victory. They show the stamina and fitness the game demands, even in this practice session. And yet, these varsity athletes belong to a group most at risk for sudden cardiac arrest.
The data indicates 100 to 150 students in that age group, high school athletes or thereabouts or younger, are going to die suddenly every single year. Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is the most common cause of sudden cardiac arrest in the young.
It's often a genetic condition in which the heart muscle thickens, becomes weaker, and ultimately stops.
We're learning more about how important this is and how we have to not only identify it early, but have a plan maybe to know what to do if it occurs on the field.
Harrisburg recognized the importance of this issue when it passed Act 59 last May. The act requires athletic directors and coaches in the state's public schools to receive training and certification in sudden cardiac arrest.
This bill has done a great deal for the safety of sports. Anyone that is in an administrative position for athletics wants to make sure that your primary goal is safety.
And I want to know if anybody knows what this is. You guys know what this device is?
Dr. Matthew Martinez, sports cardiologist at Lehigh Valley Health Network, conducts presentations at area schools to educate and certify athletic staffs and students. Last August, he held a session for the Nazareth School District. Just recently, he gave their varsity basketball team an informal lesson on using the automated external defibrillator.
Peel one pad from plastic liner
to revive someone in cardiac arrest.
And the defibrillator is the key. So whenever I walk into a gym, the first thing I try and do is identify where that defibrillator is. You have about 3 to 5 minutes to get to somebody before you're going to really not have any benefit. So when you open it up, it automatically starts.
The AED takes over and gives step-by-step instructions.
Shock will be delivered in 3, 2, 1. Shock delivered.
But most importantly, you have to have it near the patient. So it can't be in another gym, it can't be at a different school.
Grant Searfus, a forward with the Blue Eagles, relates his own experience.
I actually know quite a bit about it. A family member died at a young age from cardiac arrest, so it has affected my life.
We get dizzy sometimes. Basketball is a running sport, so when you're going back and forth, that can happen. But I've never witnessed and been around somebody completely going out of it.
These students work hard. I think that that's even more of a reason to make sure that we're on our toes, to make sure that we provide a safe environment for them.
Safe for them and future athletes everywhere. For Tempo in Depth, I'm Grover Silcox reporting.
Thanks so much, Grover. Now, I'm joined by Dr. Ann Manny, a cardiologist from St. Luke's University Health Network. Dr. Manny, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
We have learned so many different things about heart disease, cardiac arrest, all the different things, heart attack, heart failure. How do we differentiate all the different things that can go wrong with our heart?
Well, the heart is kind of like any kind of plumbing. You have to think about it in terms of what it does for you. The heart pumps the blood to the rest of your body. So a heart attack is when one of the arteries that supplies the muscle of the heart is clogged up, and the muscle of the heart is not getting enough oxygen. And that can show up in signs like chest pain, shortness of breath, profuse sweating, nausea, a lot of the other symptoms that we were talking about earlier in the show. Heart failure is when the muscle of the heart just is weak. It can't pump the blood as well as it should be. So generally what happens is people start feeling short of breath. They may be gaining weight because they're retaining a lot of fluid as the fluid backs up into the rest of the body because the heart's not pumping it forward. And then when we're talking about the AEDs, sudden cardiac death is when the heart, for whatever reason, stops pumping and the patient usually passes out. And that's where the AEDs come into play, where you can shock the heart back into normal rhythm.
Now, sudden cardiac arrest, does that usually come with some form of physical activity? Do you have that often just walking down the street?
Yes, you can. when people have heart attacks, sometimes when they're not receiving enough blood to their heart muscle, they can develop dangerous arrhythmias, which can cause them to pass out and die. And in those cases, the AEDs can actually bring them back to normal rhythm if they're used in time. But in certain types of diseases like hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy, which is a specific,
really big word,
a specific type of disease that affects the heart muscle, makes it thicker than it's supposed to be, that generally people develop sudden cardiac arrest in that situation when they're exercising.
So is there some way that the average person, you're healthy, and then all of a sudden something goes awry, and how do you know to get to the hospital? I mean, the major signs of a heart attack we're starting to learn and recognize, but some of these things are a little more subtle, and we may not know how to come and see someone like you to get the help we need before something bad happens.
Right. And as doctors, my best advice is you know your body the best. You know when something's wrong. If you're having symptoms like shortness of breath, like fatigue, like chest discomfort, like jaw discomfort, any of those things that for you are different and you consider to be different from your normal, then I would recommend being evaluated. Not to worry so much about the fact that you could be wrong, but worry more about the benefit of being seen and being evaluated.
Right. I mean, being embarrassed for an hour is one thing. Being dead for a lifetime, I mean, there's no turning back on that.
Exactly.
Help people also understand what else should they look for?
In terms of symptoms?
Sure, or things that make them go and how do they respond?
Right. So if you're worried that you're having a heart attack, the first thing you can do if you have aspirin in your house is to take 4 baby aspirins.
4 is the magic number?
4 is the number that you get in the emergency room. So 4 baby aspirins, if you take them at home, you're already ahead of the game. Second is to call 911. As others have said, don't wait to have somebody take you to the hospital. If you're having an acute heart attack where one of the arteries in your heart is completely blocked, what we say in the cardiology world is time is muscle. So the longer that it takes for you to get to the hospital, that's the longer time that part of your heart muscle is not getting oxygen, and the more damage can be done. So 911, calling them, you'll get to the hospital the fastest, and you'll get to the treatment that you need the fastest.
And it is all about being fast so we don't lose heart muscle. Is there a percentage of how much heart muscle you can lose and still function effectively?
The way we assess heart muscle function is by how much of the blood is pumped out of your heart with each heartbeat. That's called your ejection fraction. Normal ejection fraction ranges anywhere between 50 to 65% of the blood being pumped out with each beat. People can live with only 5% ejection fractions. They may have symptoms of heart failure, but they can live and have productive lives even with heart functions as low as 5%.
You know, we've seen tonight some exciting new medical advancements for treating heart disease and treating some of these issues. Is that kind of the most exciting thing? Well, heart disease is a scary word for people, and we saw in the very first story the woman thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to die and not live to be around my grandchild. But it's not a death sentence anymore?
No, not at all. Something that she said was that, she thought heart attacks meant death. Nowadays, heart attacks do not mean death at all. People have heart attacks and they leave the hospital within 2 days. And that's because of the advancements that have been done in cardiology. Patients can come in for these aortic valve replacements to our hospital as well, and they can be out of the hospital within 3 to 5 days after a surgery like that, which used to be months when people could have to stay in the hospital.
So where do we go from here? What are you hoping for as the next advancement, or what do you need as a doctor who works with patients day in and day out? What would you love to see?
I would love to see patients taking better care of themselves. A lot of what we do is advancing care of medicine, but when it all comes down to it, when patients listen to our advice and take their medications, they can prolong their lives even more. And I think that education is probably the biggest advancement in the future for us.
It's the way to go. Dr. Ann Manny from St. Luke's University Health Network. Thank you so much for your information. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Well, did you know that red peppers have as much vitamin C as oranges? I didn't. Tempo and Depth's Laura McHugh learned that and a whole lot more on a recent visit to the grocery store. Here's some tips you can use on your next shopping trip that can help your heart.
So you're in the grocery store and you're trying to decide between the broccoli and those green beans. Now, which one is better for your heart? Turns out not all fruits and vegetables are created equal when it comes to our cardio health. Here to help us learn more is certified nutritionist Lisa Drew of Lisa Drew Wellness. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. This is fun.
Now, I understand you've gathered the top 10 fruits and vegetables for heart health in your cart here.
Let's
start with that broccoli.
Yeah, broccoli is a superfood. It's great. And when you're looking for broccoli, you want to make sure that it is hard, not loose at the ends like this. However, when you're cooking it, you don't want to boil it to death. You want to roast it or steam it to keep the nutrients inside. Roasting it brings out the sweetness in a vegetable.
What about this avocado?
Avocado's fantastic. We all know it and love it in guacamole. Basically, with the avocado, it is a healthy fat. People shy away from it, and they shouldn't. So this is great for heart health especially. So hang on to some avocados. Bringing us to some red peppers. These are organic red peppers. When you can get peppers organically, you should. If you can't, just wash them in a lemon bath just to get rid of a lot of that preservative that's on there and chemical. Red peppers have more vitamin C than citrus fruit does, so or about the same amount. And actually, papaya, which is this funky fruit here, has more vitamin C than citrus does. So this is a fun fruit to have. Yes, you should put it in your routine each week. Put it in smoothies, cut it up, put it in a salad, or just eat it by itself. It's fantastic.
That was the biggest surprise to me. When you first picked that up, I said, what is that?
Like, that's a papaya. Oh, I've heard of them. I've never had one. So definitely have one.
So, of course, our typical citrus fruits are in here, too.
Right. You have oranges, your grapefruit, things like that, clementines, tangerines. Grapefruit, you just want to make sure if you are on heart medication that it does not interfere with the medication that you're taking. So that is very important to know, so talk to your doctor about that, or your pharmacist. They will let you know if a grapefruit is going to interfere with the medicine that you're taking. We also have spinach in here. Yes, I am a busy single mom of 2, so I do get things that are in a carton. These are organic baby spinach. Very important superfood, vitamin A, C, full of iron. Women don't get enough iron, so this is a great source to have it.
Well, I like to mix spinach with your next item.
Yes, with either blueberries or strawberries. They didn't have any organically today. You definitely want to get your berries organic if you can. They didn't have any, but these look delicious as well. Again, the lemon bath is going to help get that stuff off it. These are filled with vitamin A, vitamin B, you name it, it's got it. So this is nature's candy. And when you have that sweet tooth and you don't know what to have a piece of fruit. So have some blueberries, have some strawberries, have them in your smoothie, have them on your salad, however you would like to do it. So these should definitely be in there. Which brings me to the apple a day. Does keep the doctor away. You definitely want to have it with the skin on. This is an organic Granny Smith. You can put it in salads, you can grill it, you can saute it, you can do a lot of things with apples. So
Does it matter what kind? I know you picked a Granny Smith.
I picked Granny Smith because you can cook with it, you could do a lot more with a Granny Smith, but all the apples are fantastic as long as you eat it with the skin on. That's what's important. And then we have your beta carotene family, which is your organic carrots and your sweet potato, or this is a yam, they're orange inside. Filled with beta carotene, protects your heart. All of these foods in this basket are going to help with your cholesterol.
Well, Lisa, thank you so much. Now, you did mention this is not an exhaustive list.
No. Actually, this is where you want to be in the stores. The whole vegetable and fruit section is where you want to spend the majority of your time and money.
Lisa Drew of Lisa Drew Wellness, thank you so much for your time and for these tips to make all of us a little heart healthier. For Tempo in Depth, I'm Laura McHugh reporting.
Thanks so much, Laura. Well, for more information on tonight's topic, please check out the following resources. At heart.org, the American Heart Association offers descriptions of many heart disease-related symptoms, plus tips to get healthy and lower your risk. You can actually assess your risk for heart disease by checking out their page mylifecheck.heart.org. Now, enter factors like your weight, your blood pressure, and cholesterol to get a snapshot of your risks. Finally, learn more about how you can prevent heart disease at cdc.gov. Well, before we leave you tonight, we have some special gifts for members of our studio audience. Sands Casino Resort Bethlehem has donated a $50 gift certificate, good at the shops, the restaurants, and the event center. Okay, so let's look at all of our students in the audience today, and they've got your numbers, right? Hold up your numbers, guys. You got them, right? You're feeling lucky? Let's see. Look how cute they are. Okay, number 43. Who's number 43? Is someone happy? A number 43? Yay, I see him. He's quiet over there in the back. Congratulations, number 43. That's great. Well, you know what? The State Theater in Easton has also provided a 4-pack of tickets to see Golden Dragon Acrobats coming up on Sunday, March 10th. This is an $80 value. One more ticket. Let's see. Number 1. Number 1 over here in the front row. Feeling good? I like it. Thank you so much to our studio audience, and thank you for joining us this evening. We hope that you're able to have some heart-healthy tips that will improve your life in the future. We appreciate your time and hope to see you in our studio audience real soon. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
The people of Air Products feel privileged to bring this programming to you. By supporting education and the arts, Air Products strives to improve the quality of life here in the Lehigh Valley, where we call home.
How'd you like to be part of a studio audience for a live taping of Tempo in Depth? Join us at the PBS 39 Public Media and Education Center on the Steel Stacks campus in Bethlehem. For free tickets and information, 610-867-4677 extension 333, or go online to tempo.wlvt.org. I hope to see you soon.
This special is brought to you by Lehigh Valley Health Network, a passion for better medicine.
Celebrate life with us at the Lutheran Community at Telford, where you can live life to the fullest. Located in historic Bucks County for 50 years, the community offers retirement living cottages and apartments along with a variety of health care.